I will now call the annual organizational meeting to order. Newly elected board members Chad Roberts and Hal Talbot have signed their constitutional oath of office forms. And I'll now call for nominations for the President of the Board of Education for the 24-25 school year.
I nominate Hal Talbot.
I'll second.
Third.
All right. Are there any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Hal Talbot has been elected the President of the Board of Education, and I turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the continued support and look forward to a great year. Before I ask for a nomination for Vice President, I'd like to welcome Mr. Roberts. Chad, we're glad you're here and look forward to a great year working together.
Appreciate it.
All right. So this time I will take nominations for Vice President for year 24-25.
I'd like to nominate Kim Talbot.
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any other nominations?
I'm going to nominate Pam Carbone.
Yeah, okay. And a second to that?
I second it.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations at this point? If not, in front of everybody there is a piece of paper and a pencil. Everybody just please write down who they will vote for, and then I'll be around to collect them and read the results. First vote is for Pam. Second vote is for Kimmy. Pam. Kimmy. Kim. Kim. And Pam. So in a vote 4-3, Kimmy Talbot is our new Vice President for this school year. Congratulations.
Kim, are you bringing your papers or leaving them?
I was going to leave them. I didn't move them yet. I'll come get your stuff though.
You can move me.
All right. So we'll move on to the appointment of officers. If we're all set, that's item number 5, so we can appoint 5A through 5R. I would just need a motion and a second, please.
I'll motion to move appointment of officers, A through R, as stated.
Thank you. In a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions on those at all? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstained? So moved. Other appointments, item number 6. If we turn to page 3, we need to fill in voting delegates for the PTA Council and an alternate. Do you have any volunteers that would like to be on PTA?
I'll do it.
Fantastic.
Who is that?
Sing.
Mr. Singh.
Nominate Chad to be the alternate. Are you willing to do it?
Does that work for you?
As long as it's permissible.
Yeah.
Yep. Beautiful. All right. Then letter K, we need to appoint a board representative for the District Health and Safety Committee.
I nominate Sing for that.
Thank you.
Accept that.
Yes.
Anyone else on for that one? Mr. Singh, thank you very much. On to letter O, we need to appoint 2 people to work on our policies.
Okay. Pam, do you want to do that with me again?
Sure.
So Pam and Kimmy. Anyone else would like to do that? All right. So for other appointments then, we would need a motion and a second for 6A through O, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the other appointments, A through O.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions on that?
I have a comment with respect to it, with respect to 6, no, what are the numbers, I apologize. Oh, maybe I'm on the wrong. No, I apologize, for 5, it's just 5, right? Or, no, 6.
We're on
For
6.
6, it's B, for B and C. Can we do those separately? Or do you want me to make my comments now and?
I'm making comments now. Yeah, just
Okay.
make them now so we can
Okay.
make it all at once. Yep.
With respect to 6B regarding the agreement with Gervin Filazzo and 6C with the agreement with Honeywell Law Firm, I have some concerns with the agreements with the 2 of them. I want to state first, however, that I am not commenting on their work for us, and I'm not commenting on, I had no complaints with what I saw this year, and I know that their work has been good. It's solely with the agreements themselves. I feel like there's some issues with them that we need to have hashed out. With respect to the Gervin and Filazzo agreement, they only talk about a flat rate for attorneys per hour at $200 an hour. However, they don't say with respect to what levels of attorneys. There's different rates usually in agreements, whether it's an associate attorney versus a partner or a shareholder. Partners and shareholders who have more experience tend to charge more than, for example, a first-year associate. I think we need to get more specific with respect to that. In paragraph 3, the 3rd bullet of the agreement, it says construction matters will be billed at $225 an hour versus the regular rate of $200 an hour, but it doesn't define what that means, unlike they did with respect to bullet 2 of paragraph 3. And also with paragraph 3, bullet 3, they don't talk about paralegal fees like they do with respect to bullet 2 and paragraph 3. I think we need to discuss paralegal fees with respect to that. I think we should know what they consider to be construction matters in order to determine the pricing on that. Because what if it's a construction matter that goes to litigation? Do you do the litigation rate, which is one rate, versus the construction rate, which is a different rate? I think that needs to be given more specific information. And then with respect to paragraph 3, the 4th bullet, it talks about that we won't be charged for photocopying or postage costs unless it's a, quote, large photocopying cost or a large postage cost, but it doesn't have any lines showing where that is. So who's making that determination with respect to what's considered large enough where we are charged for it versus they will just incorporate that as a part of their own cost. And then with respect to the Honeywell agreement, unlike the Gervin and Filazzo, they do identify particular attorneys, but they also say, they also just say that there's access to all other attorneys. So I have the same issue with respect to this contract that I do with the Gervin and Filazzo contract, in that there's usually different rates depending on the level of attorney you are. So that concerns me. And then here, Gervin Filazzo provided us with paralegal rates, but the Honeywell contract doesn't provide us with paralegal rates. It simply says that they charge a certain amount for legal services, but they don't define what the legal services incorporate. So are we paying that much for a paralegal? Because under the American Bar Association, it states paralegals perform substantive legal work that would otherwise be done by attorneys. But based on practice, paralegals you don't charge as much for paralegal work as you do for attorney work. So to simply say legal services here. And then there's also the issue regarding large photocopying and postage costs. What does that mean? So for me personally, I have those concerns about those two agreements. I'd like to get specification with respect to those, preferably in the agreement itself. I know we're on a time crunch because the time frame is July 1 to June 30th, but I do think there are issues. They're the same issues I had last year with respect to these two agreements. Nothing changed other than the increase, which is, I get that for times. So those are my two issues with those particular agreements.
I believe Mr. Giaquinto has information.
Great.
So I vet all the contracts out that either come to the board, if I choose to bring them to the board, certain ones, or we have an internal process. So with the law firms, both firms give us what they call a blended rate. So if it's a partner or an associate, it's the blended rate. So you get the benefit of that lower rate because we always deal with the partners. It's identified such on each legal bill. Each charge, as Kim would know, delineates the hours and who's working on the case. So you'll always see, and I think a couple years ago we brought samples of the bills to the board, which show that each legal bill is reviewed for the authenticity of the hours by the administrator who engaged in the service before I let it go for payment. So it's the blended rate by both Honeywell and Gervin benefits the district because they don't charge us for the partner rate. It's a blended rate, and we always get the partners. Jeff Honeywell always is 99% on all our bills, and Patrick Fitzgerald and Ryan, is it Mulcahy, Susan? He's always on the bills. They're partners. If we have any issues with the bills, we pick up the phone and they're addressed. But we've never been billed in my 17 years. We've been with Gervin and Honeywell for about 10 for postage or copying. I think that's for maybe if there's court cases or something. I know what it is. If it's an outside service they're using to do that sort of thing, prints or whatever, they will pass it through to us, but that's never happened. Construction, again, to be identified, I send a lot of construction documents to them for review. Litigation is if we go to court, and they delineate that. Hal might remember on the board during COVID when Cuomo shut down construction, we worked with Gervin and kept construction open, finished the fields on time during COVID, which we found the legal right way in that one. So that was construction. Any AIA documents I have them review, bid documents I have them review, and they're billed at the construction. It's a little higher level. I don't know, you're an attorney, but it's a different type of work.
Sure.
So, and basically, and Kim, thanks for your questions. I didn't say that first off, but the other thing is the contract that's before you with Gervin is the same contract that they deal with the other 70 school districts in New York State. That's what they use. So I meet with them, I vet everything out, and I make the decision to bring it to Susan. I hope that answers.
It does, thank you.
You're most welcome. Most welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions on item 6? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. Thank you all. Let's see, turn to page 4. Item number 7, designations. Let's see. We need to appoint someone for our legislative liaison. Ms. Sherry-Furnish, would you like to do that again?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Anybody else like to do that? And then on the top of the next page, designate board members to serve on the audit committee and appoint someone the head of the audit committee or chairperson. I would like to do that again, unless there's other members that would like that.
I'll be on the audit committee.
All right, we need one more person. This past year, Emily served with us.
I'll do it again,
That's good.
if that's acceptable.
We're in agreement there? All right, beautiful. Kimmy, myself, Kimmy, and Emily, same three as this past year. All right, so that is item number 7. So if I could get a motion, please, for designations.
I'll move to approve the designations outlined in 7A through 7E.
Thank you. Yes. And a second.
I'll second. Oh,
Thank you both. Any questions on this? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. Authorizations, if I get a motion for item 8, 8A through K.
I'll move that item 8, authorizations A through K, stated.
Thank you.
Oh,
Second.
I'll
Second.
second. Go ahead, Chad.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on authorizations? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. Lastly, miscellaneous actions. If I could get a motion, please.
I'll move that we accept the miscellaneous actions outlined 9A, B, and C as submitted.
Thank you. And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions on this discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. Thank you, everyone, for our reorg. Does anybody need to take a quick 5-minute break before our regular meeting starts? No? All right. If not, if you're able to please do so, rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. We need to take a break. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, at this time, we will open up our first hearing and privilege of the new school year. If you wish to address the board, please head to the podium, state your name, address, use the board 5-minute policy, and refrain from using any individuals by name.
Hi, I'm Sarah Hoffman. I teach at Scotia-Glenville High School, 1 Tartan Way. I just wanted to speak tonight because you are on the agenda for tonight. You're going to increase the assistant principal at the high school. And I just wanted to address some concerns on behalf of the SGTA regarding that increase. Given that we have declining enrollment and that nothing was discussed openly during public budget session. And in fact, I went back through like all the different presentations during the budget season, and what I did find was that we reduced 2 special ed teachers, a full-time speech language therapist, a gen ed teacher, some teaching assistants and teacher aides because we didn't have the money to keep those positions. We also heard a lot of conversation through the budget season and through this year about dividing a class at the elementary school. We were also told there was not money for that. And so my unit is seeing a pretty significant hit to the amount of people that we have in it this year due to declining enrollment, which is what was discussed pretty heavily during the board budget sessions, and the not having the money to cover it and wanting to stay under cap. It's just, I guess, interesting as we're looking at this that increasing the administrative position was not discussed during budget season. It was not included on any line item that I can find that was made public. And it's for a significant amount of money. And I know that in this case, one of the added responsibilities will be summer school. But in past years, that's been a $6,000 stipend, not a $20,000 increase, which is what it looks like publicly, will be the increase for this position. For 1 month of added responsibility. So I guess I'm just concerned because we're cutting a lot of positions that impact kids, that impact program, that have direct connection to our students. And as our declining enrollment has continued, we seem to continue to be adding administrative positions. It's concerning as a president of this teaching unit that is not discussed publicly, openly, during a budget season. Everything else was discussed, all of our teacher benefits, how much everything cost, but not one word about increasing any of this. So just wanted to throw that out there as a concern. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board at this time? If not, we will close the first hearing and privilege of the floor. Remind everyone that we will have a second opportunity at the end of the meeting. And at this time, we will be turning it over to our friends at the SEI Design Group for tonight's presentation.
Good evening, everybody. My name, of course, is Alistair Aitchison with SEI Design Group. I have Jack Tateo and Matt Schools with me. For those of you that are not aware, 2 years ago, the Governor included in our budget, our 2022 budget, a requirement or mandate that all school districts in New York State had to start purchasing electric buses or zero-emission electric buses starting in, at least by 2027, so that the entire fleet would be electric by 2035. As a result of that, we've been working with Mr. Giaquinto in order to develop a conceptual plan of upgrades to the bus garage. That's going to work in tandem with an RFP that had gone out earlier in the year for charging stations that would be installed to serve the first round of buses that would come into the fleet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over a quick overview of the state, well, that is pretty much what I've just done with the state mandate. We're going to look at the scope of the work, a quick review of the budget and financials, which is just a rough estimate as it stands right now, an estimated project schedule if the project was to proceed, and then I'll just give you a quick update on the ongoing kind of design work as part of the 2024 capital improvement project. So if you've been down to the bus garage, you'll know that there's the Buchendal building, which is an old school building that sits on the site. I think it was Jack and I went to visit this site maybe about a month ago. If you've been in it, you'll see that it does have certain qualities to it, but I will say that it has not received any kind of, there's not been any kind of students in there, I think, since the 70s. Based on the lessons that are still on the chalkboards. It is riddled with asbestos and lead paint. There's issues with the foundation, some structural issues with the foundation, and generally the building is, I don't want to say in disrepair, but it's certainly seen better days. We are, as part of the project, as you'll see from the next slide with the site plan, the intent would be for us to undertake abatement of the project and then demolition and removal of the building to make way for essentially the 46 spaces that we need for all the electric buses, plus the updated electric infrastructure, which includes a brand new transformer, an automatic transfer switch, electric switch gear, a generator, and the like. So that is the kind of site plan as we're looking right now. The actual utility pole right now sits on the other side of the building next to the fire station. So we'd have to obviously come across from there, but I'm going to flick through and you'll see, let me see if I can just jump to this one. That's obviously the Buchendal building as it stands today. The first step would be for removal of the Buchendal building and then roughly where that maroon area is where we would look to install a pad for the new transformer. Then, of course, our next step would be to, in addition to the new transformer pad, is to install conduit back to the bus garage and also to run it along adjacent to the new pad, which would be the first batch of buses that would be available to the district. The next step is actually to tie back into the existing electrical grid. That would be performed by National Grid, and they would come across with a new primary feed into the building because we need to upgrade the electrical service because we're now looking at obviously a greater kind of electrical draw on the grid. And then, of course, we've got the conduit that would go out underneath the parking lot to serve all the future charging pedestals. And then the last line, as you can just see, it's where the little red squares in the bottom corners actually would be the first installation of the level 3 chargers that would part of the RFP that was that the district had gone out for. I think it was back in March. Was it Plug-in? Was it? Yeah, Plug-in was the lowest bidder that would be proposing to not only run the power out to these, but also to install the charging pedestals. And this is just a rough overview of what we'd be looking at with the quantity of buses that you would have on site. We're not touching the bus garage as it stands. The fuel island remains as is, but in order to cover at least the same number of car spaces as you would bus spaces, we're looking at the possibility of creating an additional overflow parking lot on the other side of the access road that serves the softball fields, as you can see in the lower right-hand corner. So that would allow you to have, as I say, 46 buses on site, all charging, although not all at the same time, but next to level 3 chargers, and then, of course, a number of spaces for employees in the bus garage, but also the drivers. What we're looking at right now for the resurfacing and also potential reconstruction of the parking lot, because electric buses are heavier, so they require more of a heavy-duty asphalt with the profile of the parking lot. Yeah, it's a thicker base essentially so it doesn't degrade as quickly. That's estimated right now at $630,000. The electric infrastructure is the largest portion of it, which isn't a surprise given the amount of work that has to go into that. It includes all the pad with the transformer and such. I believe, right now National Grid will pay 90% up to the transformer. In fact, I think including the transformer, because it's technically theirs, so they'd actually include the cost of the transformer as well. But everything beyond the transformer, such as the generator, transfer switch gear, all that would be on the district to cover. The abatement and removal of the Buchendale building is a little bit unsure right now, but we've given a number that we feel comfortable with, and then the incidentals covers everything from all the testing that would occur and all the A&E fees, testing and air monitoring that would occur as part of abatement, and also during construction where we've got all the material testing and such. So it gives a total project cost of just over $2 million, so $2.13 million. Should the district decide to proceed forward, we would believe we'd be going out for a bond resolution for that quantity of project, or at least the value of the project. Because we've done a lot of groundwork already in terms of going to National Grid and at least setting up a work order with them, so they in order to upgrade the electric infrastructure, that's already in motion. For us to turn around a design, we estimate it roughly about 2 months, which includes all the necessary abatement testing in the building. Right now, SED from date of submission from clearing initially is about 6 months, although we hope that's going to come down. Bidding would be about a month, and then construction should be roughly about 3 months, given the coordination with National Grid as to when they would come in and install the transformer. As a short and sweet, Before I jump into a quick update on the 2024 capital improvement project, are there any questions about the EV infrastructure upgrade? Sure. How many cars is it? So
we're only going to purchase enough chargers as we purchase buses. There's 46 buses right now that we were going to be swapping over. You're not going to buy 46 chargers because the technology in the next 5 to 10 years is going to change so much. We're going to get the minimal amount plus one of the level 3s, which is like a supercharger, to be able to start. And then as we purchase more buses in conjunction, we'll be purchasing more chargers. The conduit wire and the base is basically bolt them in place, plug them in, and so we're ready to go.
So the infrastructure will be built for the chargers.
Future.
Yes.
Future.
Yeah. We want to.
I think we were approved for 3 buses, if I'm not mistaken. So that we're doing
5?
5 buses. Yeah.
5. So it would be 5 of the level 2 chargers, which are a trickle charge that would occur overnight. And then the level 3 charger is if batteries are low and they need a boost, you put it on those. But those are usually done during the day when it's high demand.
Mm-hmm.
So the advantage is of doing them at night, where the cost from the grid is a lot cheaper, tremendously savings.
What do we, again, how many chargers are we starting with then? How many we plan on?
To begin with, I believe it was 1 level 3 and 3 level 2s. Because at level 3, I think you can serve 2 buses at once because of the size of it. So I think, if I'm right in saying that we've got a level 2 for 3 buses and then 1 level 3 that would be utilised for 2 buses.
Do we know yet the level 3 capacity and how fast does it charge a bus from like 0 to?
I think the intent, well, with the level 3, the intent is never to go straight from 0 because it's always seen as almost a top-up, but I would have to verify. The problem with a fast charge, as you'll know, is like batteries tend to deplete quicker when they're, you know, the battery life is less when it's a very fast charge. So that's why we're looking to try and utilise as many of the level 2 chargers as possible, but I can certainly get back to you with the sort of the time frame from a completely flat battery to full, which of course will change over the course of the life of the bus. But
3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, usually the intent and concern is to get a bus charged from the morning run to an early dismissal. So usually you can get back charged in 2.5 hours, but all of them are technically different right now. So it depends on what you buy.
So the reason for my question is, at the conference we went to, I hammered, EV buses, and the manufacturer, they were telling me, I'm explaining to them that where we live, and most of the, like Glendale's in the hills.
Yep.
But most of the buses, not most, some buses go to the hills. Can it handle that? Can it come back in time, or would it be stranded in the middle of it? Can the bus be fully charged to go to a school event that could be in Glens Falls?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. And that was my concern with them. That's what I was worried about, especially in the winter time where they said it takes more for the bus to get going in winter time. It doesn't, early fall or spring even.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, the second question, so thank you for answering that. My other question is, looking at your 2-3 slides back, right there, right, one more, forward.
One more? Or the
forward,
bus? All right.
to the end. They're right there.
Yep.
That small parking lot, is that tapping into the softball, football field? Am I?
It's currently, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is owned by the softball field, but there's we'd have to work with an easement, an agreement with them, whereby the use would be during the kind of the weekends, and the evenings could be by the softball club, and the school district would have use of it during the day. But we can't. I mean, we've tried every which way to fit like all the buses and all the cars onto the site, and quite frankly, it's not physically possible.
Then that's what, almost 20 cars? That is the
Approximately, yep.
So again, the concern is where in the fall and in the spring, when softball and football, parents go, I go there, Al goes there, parks there, 5, 6 o'clock at night, or right around this time for practice or games on the weekend, which nobody's there, obviously, but will the softball parents and the football parents be able to utilize that parking lot when no one's there, or would it be just fenced out?
No, it wouldn't be fenced out. Basically, the use would be from 7 to 3.
Yeah.
7
Yeah.
AM to 3 PM.
Business hours, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Monday through Friday.
Okay.
I mean, if we had 46 buses going out, right now, we don't have enough parking for what's there now.
Okay.
So I believe that there are currently 20 to 25 that are out at one time, and there's spares and reserves, or the other ones are afternoon trips, but the overflow parking should not be a problem going right there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So just to clarify, because Mr. Singh knew where I was going with that one, that's not going to be fenced in like the other, like the main.
There's no need for a fence because it would just be for the people that are working in that building during the
Yeah,
day.
we'd have a gate over the path that would maintain the fence
Right.
line around
Yeah.
for security, but ultimately it's not a district's property. You'd be entering into a shared agreement with the softball club.
Thank you.
And the buses on the bottom, you said are gonna be level 3 chargers. Do we need somebody at night to pull those off, or are they all gonna be level 2s and then just have the spares?
Of the ones in the bottom corner right now, about 5 of them closest to the.
They're green.
Oh, was that?
Show the red boxes. Go back one slide.
You talking about here?
No, go back one of your slides. Go
Oh,
back.
yeah.
The red ones are where the level
Yeah.
3 chargers are. Those would be the fast chargers, if they're ever needed. All the other white boxes are the regular chargers that can do 1 or 2 buses, and the optimal is overnight with a trickle charge.
All right, so we don't really, only if we need those, we use those, we're not gonna put a bus on those overnight, right?
Yes,
I think you can. The charging software that runs the chargers can dictate which chargers are going and which chargers are dormant. So if you need that spot to park a bus, you need to plug the bus in, it's gonna charge what it needs to charge, and it's gonna stop charging based on a program that runs.
Yeah,
And that